Session meeting to order of the San Marcos City Council. Does somebody have their audio on? You need to be muted. Everyone, please, even though we're on Zoom. Okay, thank you. Okay, call this work session meeting of the San Marcos City Council to order. Today is Tuesday, March 19th of 2024. It's 3:01 p.m. Ms. Cordova, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Prather, Mr. Scott, Ms. Garza, Mayor Houston,
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Here.
Mr. Gleason,
Here.
and Mr. Mendoza.
Here.
Okay, we will start with our citizen comment time period. City Council welcomes speakers at work sessions and regular meetings. Those wishing to speak, there is a sign-up process. You may speak once during the citizen comment time period, may not yield time to others. If you speak now about a public hearing topic, we ask that you not repeat exactly the same comments again during the public hearing on the same topic later this evening at the 6 o'clock meeting. You'll have 3 minutes to speak when you state your name. You will see there is a timer on the screen. When you get to the yellow, you've only got 20 seconds, and when the timer's red, your time to speak is up. There may be a bell. How many speakers do we have today, Ms. Cordova?
We only have one
All
signed
right.
up.
I believe that's
He is
Ms.
on.
Capoletta, and she is joining us online.
Oh, I think it's Mr.
Oh, it's Mr. Baker, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Baker.
I had the wrong sheet in front of me. Okay, Mr. Baker.
Yes, so I am messaging you all today to publicly speak into the record concerns that I have shared with many of you over email. This is in regards to the Ethics Commission. I hope you all read those, as well as some of the back and forth that me and the city attorney, Sam Aguirre, have been having. I was brought to my attention that the ethics commissioners are not empowered to pursue ethics violations themselves. They need to rely on essentially citizen-driven complaints to initiate any sort of action. It's really frustrating that when city council and city staff are given clear evidence from our community through the community survey that was conducted, that there is very little faith and trust in government to do things correctly, that we would not then turn around to empower the Ethics Commission to be able to pursue conflicts of interest, donations, and making sure that council members aren't receiving donations and then voting on important issues, or that members of city council or city staff aren't also serving on boards and commissions that they then don't or allocate money to throughout the budgetary process, and kind of most concerningly, that even when conflicts of interest and letters of admonition or higher degree offenses are identified by the Ethics Commission, that those are actually only kept in an insular fashion and aren't publicly communicated in any way. So for instance, when Mark Gleason was found negligent of their political action committee donation and voting on the police and fire contract, that was not even dispersed to other city council members or to the public at large. I am bringing this forward because I'm really hoping that someone in the news media hears about this and follows up with city council and city staff to really push on you guys, because my little old emails don't seem to bother you or the conflicts of interest. Now, Sam Aguirre has in correspondence with me, which would be open to open record requests from the public, has admitted that different lawyers might see these issues in different lights, and that it would be incumbent upon city council or the Ethics Commission to pursue changes to their guiding documents to allow them to fundamentally pursue issues of campaign finance, conflicts of interest, et cetera. It's really unfortunate that there doesn't seem to be any political will to pursue that. So I am here to basically suggest that if you all would like our community to engage and trust you, that you all should agendize a discussion item talking about the Ethics Commission and deciding to empower them to pursue those kinds of issues. Mark Gleason has at many times stated that this would create a political football. Well, they're appointed by you, and yet they still found you.
Mr. Baker, your time is up.
Thank you.
And you said that he was our only speaker today for citizen comment. All right. In that case, let us proceed on to item 1.
Receive as their presentation and discuss possible amendments to Chapter 86, Article 2, Division 2, Water Conservation of the City Code pertaining to water use restrictions during drought conditions and provide direction to staff.
Ms. Reyes?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Today's presentation is in regards to the 5-year update to the Drought Contingency and Water Conservation Plan. This update is required per rules from the Texas Water Development Board and Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. The first plan was adopted in 1991 and has been amended many times as required. The last plan was approved in 2019. We've received a lot of feedback from our community voicing confusion over our current water restrictions, so staff has worked to simplify the conservation methods outlined in the code. I'm sure some of you have received similar feedback. Developing and implementing the plan is about being good stewards of our resources. The strategic long-range planning by elected officials and staff has reduced our community's reliance on the Edwards Aquifer. That's very good news, and has diversified our city's water resources. San Marcos is in a much better position than many of our surrounding communities due to this foresight and action. Today's item is to brief the City Council on the proposed amendments prior to bringing them forward for consideration for first reading during your April 2nd City Council meeting. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul Kite, Assistant Director of Utilities, to provide the presentation today. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Paul Kite, Assistant Director of Utilities. Let's see if it works. All right, so this relates to the implementation of the Drought Contingency Water Conservation Plan. Like Stephanie had said, long-range planning has reduced reliance on the Edwards Aquifer, and we have diversified water resources now. The last ordinance update was actually done in 2015. We adopted by resolution as required per TCEQ and Texas Water Development Board the resolution in 2019 with no changes to the plan. What we have here is all of our conservation programs, our energy rebate programs, and our water rebate programs. These are available on the city website. So let's talk a little bit about our water supply diversification. So our GBRA water, Guadalupe Blanco River Authority, is our largest water source at 52%. This is including all of the sources of water that we're currently in negotiations with or planning on getting in the near future. So Edwards Aquifer Authority is currently sitting at 28% of our allotment of water. And then Alliance Regional Water Authority will be 14% for phase 1A, 1B. There's a C and D expansion that will more than likely occur by 2038, maybe sooner. We'll see how that goes. Canyon Regional Water Authority is the Hayes Caldwell Water Treatment Plant. That is going to be another 6% added to the water supply. So that would give us a total maximum daily capacity of 17.25 million gallons per day. Last year, our average usage broken down over the year was 9.5 million gallons per day. So quite a bit of excess water rights when you look at that. All right, here's a curve that's been previously presented to you. Right there, that kind of shows the implementation and plans of when we're going to bring these water sources online based on population projections. And you can see probably all the way about till 2070, we're looking pretty good if you follow that black line curve for population to actual water. So these are our current drought stages, 5 drought stages. A lot of drought stages to work through here. When you look at stage 1 and 2, there's very little difference. Aesthetic water featuring being the main difference in these ordinances. If you look at stage 3 and 4, also very minimal in the difference that you see. So when we look at the implementation of drought stages, We look at the availability of various water supplies. We also look at our Edwards Aquifer reductions and our GBRA reductions that we are required to follow. Drought and weather conditions, we monitor those through NOAA. Water system demands and usage, our consumption versus our total capacity, we're looking at that on a daily basis, especially when we get into the much more stringent summer months. Production or distribution system limitations, if we have any major main breaks or if we have any significant pump failures, like our Comanche booster pump station fails, that would be a pretty big emergency that we would want to implement some sort of drought restrictions based on how much water that station pumps and how important it is to our system. So these are all things that we look at. If we lose a major well, that would also be something that could impact our system that we want to look at and be able to say, well, we may need to move into a different stage of the drought based on the capacity of water that we can produce for that given time period. So current rule has 5 stages. The proposed rule will reduce this to 3 stages. Stage 1, sprinklers 2 days a week, and we're gonna add a weekend watering day to this because not everybody can do it 2 days during the week. So our thought is that most people are home during the weekend, that you should be able to water on a weekend day as well. Stage 2, sprinklers still 1 day a week. Stage 3 would be sprinklers 1 day every other week. So basically removing step 2 and step 4 from the ordinance based on their similarities to the other group. So this would be the proposed, as you could see here, compared to the other slide that had the 5. So when you look at implementation of drought stages, some of the things that we're going to look at is average daily consumption versus our capacity. That's going to be a really big trigger, right? If we know that we're getting towards that 75% of our average daily capacity needs, we know that we need to move into some sort of stage of restrictions. We're also going to base this on Edwards Aquifer, current Edwards Aquifer restrictions and our GBRA restrictions. And we will look at NOAA, as we had talked about, and any other capacity issues that we would have to help delineate when we would go to each of these stages based on this slide. Some of the other proposed updates, add and move, cleanup, and clarification of definitions. Hose in and automatic sprinkler, same times for both. Remove the weekday variance. Drought notices, we're gonna update the methods that we actually notify the public, including press release and the city website, rather than taking the whole page out in the paper on Sunday. Is what we are proposing there. And then CIP projects, if it has a major health or safety concern, that those can be approved by the CIP engineering director, similar to the way it is currently written in the ordinance for the utilities director to be able to supersede that and say that, yes, you can water even during this restricted period. All right, so today's our work session. Get comments back from you guys on what you guys think and the path forward. April 2nd will be the first reading, and then April 16th will be the second reading, and we'll also have to update, or we'll also have to approve by resolution the drought contingency water conservation plan on the 16th as well. We have a deadline by May 1st to submit this to the state Texas Water Development Board specifically. So any questions, recommendations that you guys have?
Council, I'm going to ask you 2 questions when I go around the table. Of course, you can ask any other questions that you like. First is, are we good with what staff proposed on using multiple sources, different reasons for going into stage 2, 3, et cetera? And are we okay with the new stages? But are there any questions you want to ask before that? Okay. Are y'all good with more than just the Edwards Aquifer stage, I believe, is all we had before? Is that correct?
Yes, it was all
And-
based on J17
Right.
and San Marcos.
And you've got a
River.
whole number of changes I think are great. So, Mr. Prather, you're good with that? Yes, ma'am. Everybody else? Okay. So we're yeses on that. And are y'all good with the new stages as proposed? Y'all are? Okay, I've got a yes from Mendoza, yes from Mr. Gleason, and, well, you're yes. Mr. Gonzalez?
I'm a yes as well.
Okay. Basically, I'm fine with what we're doing, but here's my concern, is there's many, many people in our community that know how many stages we have, and they know that stage 3 is pretty serious. Now, our next stage is gonna be 2, and so I don't know that those who generally pay attention are gonna realize that it's more serious than what it may seem. Just anytime you used to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 1, 2, 3, or at least 2 and 3 means something different, that's going to be huge. So that's my only concern. If we were gonna start using A, B, and C, and it was clearly different, which I don't think you do that with drought stages, but then people go, wait a minute, what's B? And, you know, they could find it. So I think the informing the public is gonna be really, really important, and probably anytime we do a press release, explain.
Yeah, and we will work with the communications team to make sure that this gets
Yeah.
out to the public.
That's my hesitancy, is people understanding that 2 is not
Yeah.
exactly like it used to be.
And maybe
So-
incorporate coloring like yellow, orange, red, you know,
Mhm.
like,
People understand those are different shades of red, yellow, orange, or something. The color of our yards,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Remind me, prior to 2015, when the current ordinance was adopted, for some reason I'm recalling, did council have to vote on every time we like went to another stage? I'm recalling having, I felt like we had a vote on every time we moved up stages in drought.
I do not recall, or I'm not knowledgeable of that being happening prior to 2015.
I don't
The-
remember that from a long time ago, but you served since I have.
Well, what I'm trying to do, like, whatever we can do to remove the politics of, like, when we're entering drought stages, you know, like, you know, the data, the science, the conditions, this is where we're at, and as much as we can remove the politics out of when we go into these stages and we tell people, you know, I know this is your yard, and, people have a lot of, pride and a lot of work and sometimes a lot of money into their yards and landscaping, but, as much as we can remove the politics out of drought restrictions, I think is a good thing.
Well, I think before it was a trigger and there wasn't any politic. It was a number, and if
Yep.
we were there, we were there. So I don't recall that. But as it is now, or what you're proposing, and you'll come back and let us know if this happens or this, whatever, y'all are the professionals, you will know. And I don't know that once we approve those triggers, I don't know that we're involved anymore, are we?
No?
Turn on your microphone.
I have a question,
Yes.
and my question is, I'm going to give an example, like Rio Vista, they have several wells, they're not very deep, you know, some are 15 feet, 25 feet. Are they going to be under the same restrictions since they don't really get straight from the aquifer, or how does that work?
So a private well ownership within
Yes,
the
sir.
city?
They use it for their grass, pretty much, it's not drinkable water.
We don't regulate the use of private wells within the city.
How about those people that are tied in straight to the aquifer in the city?
Edwards Aquifer, still, we don't regulate them as far as drought restriction goes from the city ordinance if they're pulling from their own private Edwards Aquifer water source.
I'm just curious, thank you.
Does anybody regulate that?
The Edwards Aquifer Authority.
Okay, well, just saying we don't kind of, and leaving it there kind
Yeah,
of
no,
implies
they
nobody is.
still have to maintain the same
Yeah.
restrictions, but yes.
Okay. Okay, okay, so we've got Mr. Prather's question taken care of, we got your question taken care of. We're all good with the rest, so we await the next stage,
All right,
so to speak.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So we will move on to item 2.
The City Council will convene an executive session pursuant to the following section of the Texas Government Code. A, Section 551.072, real property. 1, to deliberate regarding the possible use, lease of dispositions of city-owned property at 715 Valley Street, Mitchell Center. 2, to deliberate regarding the possible acquisitions of the 3 Texas State University buildings known as the Castro House, the Thornton House, and the Alumni House. 3, to deliberate regarding the possible acquisitions of land in the Blanco Garden neighborhood for use as a park. 4, to deliberate regarding the possible lease and sublease of property at the San Marcos Regional Airport for use including hangar space, offices, and fuel tanks. 5, to deliberate the possible acquisition of land for cemetery purposes. B, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. 1, to receive legal advice regarding and discuss a possible settlement in the matter captioned as the State of Texas versus the City of San Marcos, case number 24-0267 in the District Court, 54 Article 4 of the City Code. Number 2, to receive legal advice regarding the applicability of Section 86.003 of the City Code, proposed development in the southeastern area of the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction.
Mr. Gary, did she miss reading a line?
Oh,
It's not on the
sorry.
slide. One of them is missing from the slide. The amended one.
Okay.
No, I
No,
did.
it was B1. I just want to make sure we're square here. I didn't hear her read line 3.
Read 1, okay, just to make sure, okay. To receive legal advice regarding and discuss possible settlement in the matter captioned as the State of Texas versus the City of San Marcos on case number 24-0267 in the District Court of Hays County, Texas, pertaining to the city's enforcement of marijuana laws under Chapter 54, Article 4 of the City Code.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Council, I'm looking for a motion and a second to go into executive session.
Motion to move to executive session?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendoza, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Let's vote.
Mr. Prather? Aye. Mr. Scott? Ms. Garza? Mayor Houston?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez? Mr. Gleason?
Aye.
And Mr. Mendoza?
Aye.
All right, we will be going into executive session at 3:23, and we'll be back when we're back. Might want to turn your cameras off. Return from our executive session that we concluded at 5:39. Question and answer with press and public. I don't have anyone signed up. Is there anyone in chambers who wishes to ask a question? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Mendoza, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Let's vote.
Mr. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Garza? Mayor Houston?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Gleason? Mr. Mendoza?
Aye.
Mr. Prather?
All right, and our meeting has concluded at 5:43. Are we on